This is something that's hard to talk about, and I know it's not always the most pleasant thing to talk about, but we've got to be serious about what's actually happening right now. And let's talk about this, because our current mayor of London has failed our communities and he's failed our younger generations. Youth crime is up with a shocking rise for every single year the mayor has been in office right now. And the current mayor, months ago, recorded his 100th murdered teenager on his watch. Just think of that, 100 teenagers now dead because of the current mayor and his refusal to take ownership and solve this problem of knife crime that's been on his radar for 5 years. Youth reoffending rates have increased 10% in London, up from just under 33% in 2006 to 43%. That's currently double that of England and Wales. And between 2012 and 2017, the number of under 25s who were killed doubled, increasing year on year since 2014. Last year, there were 135 killings in London. 30% of those crimes were committed by young people that involved violence. The truth is this, and senior police have told me this. They've said, Brian, you can't police your way out of this problem. You can't just put more police on the streets and expect our teenagers to stop stabbing each other. It starts closer to home. It starts with investing in our community centers and giving our young people something else to do. And this is, again, where the mayor has continually failed. And let's look back to 2016, another year where he was campaigning, trying to get your vote, more with his empty promises like we hear them now. And he said back in 2016, and I quote, he pledged to, quote, invest in and protect youth services in London right now and, quote, make London safer by restoring neighborhood policing, tackling gangs, and knife crime, unquote. Instead, as we've seen, he's cut spending, he's closed our youth centers, and he's creating a lost generation with knife crime spiking at nightmare proportions. And again, if we look into it, youth service budgets were cut by 46% between 2012 and 2019, and an even larger funding cut is being implemented this year. And if we go into the numbers a bit more, since 2011, London has lost at least 100 youth centers. This is a big deal. And I've been talking to a lot of guests of mine and friends of mine like David Hay, who's been talking about the local boxing gym being closed, and I want to talk about that shortly. But the number of youth centers has fallen from 234 to 130 last year. That's a net loss of over 100 sites. That's more than 560 youth workers have lost their jobs. That's also coincided with a rise in youth violence. Overall spending on youth services has now been cut by 46% since 2011, with 29 London councils having cut a combined £26.3 million and projections of more cuts to come. The truth is this, our current mayor, he doesn't care about our communities. Our current mayor doesn't care about our children. Our current mayor never intended to keep his promises, and mark my words, he doesn't intend to keep the promises he's giving you right now in 2021. How can we believe anything Sadiq Khan says? How can we believe it? This is our future, and we must take ownership. On May 6th, unless you choose someone different, you're going to have 3 more years of Sadiq Khan. But you can actually fire him on May 6th by choosing an independent voice, and that's what we want to encourage you to do. And we believe we have the ideas to take London to the next level. Now, I want to hear your thoughts, because again, this is a new way of leadership and a new way of politics. When I become your next mayor, my channels are open. I've got 5 million subscribers right now. I've got 500 million views. I'm live right now on most social media platforms. You can ask me a question, and this continues when I move to City Hall. Tell me right now, what borough do you live in? What's the challenge you're facing? What's the question you want to ask me? Next, tell me, do you think these current levels of daily knife crime are acceptable? Over 15 stabbings in a 3-day period recently, 2 killings in London, including the death of Sven Badzak, 22 years old, out getting orange juice at Waitrose. Is that acceptable? Children are dying. Should the mayor be held responsible? Next, do you think it's fair that the mayor defunds community centers and fires youth workers, especially when knife crime is going up? He's abandoning our children. Next, do you think it's fair that independent candidates like us get fined, banned, detained on the streets for campaigning? Do you think that's fair? Do you think it's fair for them to stop me allowing volunteers like you to go out there and deliver leaflets, and yet they allow a private company funded by Labour or Tory to go ahead and deliver the same leaflets inside doors? We don't think that's right. and that's the article I'm referring that's covered by the Evening Standard right now. I also don't think it's fair, and I want to hear what you think, that the mayor is out there what I call campaigning in disguise right now, flaunting these same rules he's using to ban us with his convenient photo opportunities with key workers in an unsocially distanced manner. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen him out there parading around with police, with his sudden increase in police budgets 2 months before an election. Where was that money, Mr. Mayor, when knife crime was going up for the past 5 years? You see it when he's out there with nurses. Again, all campaigning in disguise. How is that fair? And yet I'm being detained and banned and fined for campaigning here.